Hello, I am Bee from Bee's Intuition. This is my second channel though, Bee's Spirituality, where I speak about whatever, I guess. Well, I talk about whatever, but with purpose. You know what I'm saying? So I've been recently, something about this channel that is a little bit, and it's not even, actually it's not about the channel, it's about me. Something that's frustrating about me is that I have so many freaking ideas for this channel of like topics I want to talk about, like things I want to do, like, you know, because I was even thinking about doing like a maybe art tutorial kind of thing. I just have so many ideas for the second channel that I'm just like, because like also like my brain is so active all the time that it's almost like I'll come up with an idea and I'll think about that idea, and it's almost as if I've already like filmed the idea and put it out there, and then my brain just is like on to the next one. Do you know what I mean? And so then it's like by the time that I actually like get the energy, I make the proper amount of time for making that video, I'm either unmotivated or that's no longer relevant, or like just frustrating. My brain is very distractible, I would say, because I just constantly have ideas for this channel, but it's almost like some of them are maybe like, well, I also feel like maybe I put too much pressure on myself too, to make these videos like cohesive and comprehensible, because like maybe I should just ad-lib, and I mean I already do that on this channel, but like maybe it's like I literally should just put myself in front of the camera and just start talking about whatever, because maybe I was over planning. Maybe that's what it was. It's like I was planning everything so much that I put too many restrictions on myself and therefore didn't feel motivated to actually follow through. But today I wanted to talk about I want to talk about so many things, but one of the main things that I wanted to talk about was, of course now I can't remember what it was. Oh, the gift of giving. So, from my point of view, I feel like society is, or at least our society in this culture that I live in, which is America, I feel like generation after generation after generation, people have been becoming more and more selfish. And I don't think it's necessarily the people that are selfish, it's not their fault necessarily. I think it's really just the way that we're socialized / this social structure that we've set up, because this culture of America is very much individualized pretty much it's all about like me, and not really about the collective, what's good for humanity, what's good for everyone, not just me. And I find that very sad, because I find that the world would be a much better place if we weren't so self-focused. And the gift of giving, what I mean by that is like giving with no expectation of benefits, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense, or even if that's, well, that's kind of what I've been feeling recently, because like I started to, well, I think it first started in 2020, but in 2023 was really when I started to be more so in this sort of energy of like trying my best to put good karma into the world. And it's not necessarily about me like getting into heaven or being on Spirit's good list, or getting good karma in return. That's not really my intention. It really is just like being able to help is very fulfilling to me. But I do realize that maybe I should wait for this wind to calm down, because I don't even know if, yeah, it's probably gonna mess with the sound quite a bit. Yes, so I just wish that people could feel more fulfillment about giving, being kind, giving to others, giving to those less fortunate, giving up our time, our valuable time, to help another person that's in need. I just wish that we could return to doing good things for no reason. Doing good things without expecting to be praised, without expecting to be compensated. Because if you think about it, the best types of charities, charitable work, doing things for others, I feel like they're more significant when, and not even just significant, but like impactful, meaningful, when they're done for the sheer love of humanity, the sheer love of giving. Because it's also a privilege to be able to give, and I feel like maybe we don't recognize that enough. I'm thinking of like, I don't want to virtue signal in this, and so I'm like tempted to talk about something that I recently have done that kind of led me to think about this. But I also don't want to be like, aren't I the best? I'm so kind and giving to everyone, and everybody should be like me. And like, I'm not trying to like be. And honestly, I hate that kind of attention, to be quite honest. Like, when people thank me for doing something nice, or they like overly thank me, I get really uncomfortable with that. Because like, it also makes me really sad, because it's like, wow, is this the world we live in, where it's like something that seems so minuscule, like just helping somebody out in need in this moment, like, is so uncommon in the world, that this person has to thank me over and over and over and over, and make sure that I know that they appreciate what I've done for them. I don't know. And also, like, there's like that putting on a pedestal that I don't like, where it's like, maybe I'll do something nice for someone and they'll be like, oh my god, you're such a good person, you're so nice. I don't know. Maybe I get uncomfortable because I really do see myself as dualistic, in the way of like, I can be very kind, giving and stuff, but I also can be incredibly selfish, incredibly self-centered, self-focused, like caring about literally nobody else but myself. I have those moments, and so I don't like being put on a pedestal typically. When it comes to doing kind deeds, I don't want to be recognized and put on a platform and have like a loudspeaker announce like how kind and wonderful I am, because I really do not feel comfortable in that, especially with the like celebrity culture over the last few years. We've kind of seen people that have been put on these pedestals falling from those heights, because at the end of the day, nobody should be praised like that and put above other people, and they shouldn't be seen as like the epitome of who we should be, or whatever, if that makes any sense. And also, when you do put people on a pedestal like that and kind of worship them, especially in celebrity culture and whatnot, we overlook a lot of details. We also ignore the bad things, or those bad things come to light and they destroy our outlook on that human being. And yeah, pretty much it's not a good idea to really put anyone on a pedestal, especially celebrities and stuff like that, because we are all, as humans, very flawed. And the more power we give to other people, the more likely it is for the people that own that power, that have that power, they're more likely to abuse that power. They're more likely to try and get away with things if they feel like they can, right? If they feel like they've been given like the go-ahead practically through us praising these celebrities or people that we find to be wholesome and whatever. Anyways, but I just wish that we could go back to, because and it's interesting because I'm not typically the type of person to be like, oh, let's go back to the way things were back in the day when racism and sexism were very common, and I don't like those aspects to history. But as somebody, and this is showing my privilege to an extent as well, my white privilege, but I've been watching, or I always watch this show that's my comfort show, and it's like it's called Lark Rise to Candleford, and it's like a coming of age story pretty much, but it's really cute, and it's set back in the day, and there's like a really poor community, but everybody like helps one another without without desiring anything in return, without expecting something in return. Like, it was just like, yes, you're part of the community, so I will naturally help you wherever I can. And I just wish that we could go back to that as a society, where it's like, I'm not expecting to be paid or compensated or, published in the newspaper, or, like, I just want to do good, and I want other people to do good too, so that we can make doing good the norm, again, because the more we focus on like, oh well, what do I get out of it, the more we focus on like and I should also state that, like, I'm not trying to say that we should give to the extent of ourselves suffering, like if we're giving to somebody that mistreats us, or if we're giving to somebody that is constantly taking advantage of our kindness. Like, obviously it's good to have like healthy boundaries and not give to such an extent that you're hurting yourself in the process. But if you have those established boundaries and you're not trying to just like be walked all over, like, I feel like it would just be so nice if we could just go back to a time where we just do nice things out of the kindness of our hearts, just because I feel like it's what's missing in the world. And we also miss out on so many things too when we, like, it's almost like nobody really likes to do nice things unless there's some sort of incentive in it for them. Like, think about like social media and like, I think of like TikTok and like people that do like, oh, I gave $100 to this homeless person, look at me, I'm such a nice human, I bought this homeless person a meal, but they're recording the whole thing and putting it on social media so that everybody can see what a beautiful person they are and how kind and wonderful they are. And sure, that may in some way motivate other people to do kind things, but usually it probably would just motivate people to do kind things as long as there's a camera there. I also was like reflecting on, like, there was this local event that would take place every year where I live, and it hasn't been reoccurring because they couldn't get enough volunteers to help with the event. And I was kind of like thinking about that for a bit, and I was like, oh, if only there was some way to incentivize people to volunteer. But in this day and age, unless there's some sort of payoff, a lot of people aren't willing to do it. And it makes me really sad, because it's like, think of all the fun that could be had for everyone in the community if there were more people to volunteer. There were more people that want to give up some of their time without any sort of payoff or compensation. But yeah, I guess that kind of like made me think about this more deeply, because this is already something that I've kind of already had in the back of my mind, that I wish that people would be more giving and stuff, out of just like the genuine kindness of their heart, rather than being praised, compensated, etc. But I almost even feel like when I say that I almost need to provide a reason to be kind. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like this is just showing how we've been programmed societally. Like, it's not enough to just be like, hey, do this kind thing because it will make somebody happy. It's like, no, what do I get out of it though? What do I get out of it? Like, am I gonna get good karma? Am I gonna get other people giving me things? Am I gonna get, publicity or whatever, I don't know. I just feel like, and there's that saying of like, be the change you wish to see in the world, and I do try to like live up to that saying for the most part. Obviously, I'm human, I'm imperfect, and I constantly don't hit the mark that I would like to, ideally, most of the time. But it's hard to feel, I don't know, maybe it's hard to feel kind of hopeful, because it's like I'm doing these kind things and people thank me and they express like all of the gratitude, but it's almost like sometimes I feel almost like people look at me like, oh, that's just so and so, they're just like that, they're very nice, they're kind of crazy because they give so much. Like, I almost feel like kindness is almost associated with being unhinged or being stupid or being gullible. Like, in our society nowadays, it's like seen as a bad thing to be kind, to give to other people. And so I almost feel like, as much as I would love to show up in the world as the change that I would like to see, I don't know if anybody will follow my example. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like just one person, and not to say like I'm the only one in the world that does nice things. Like, obviously there's so many people in the world that do wonderful, nice things for other people. And maybe it's just the area I live in, because it's low income, There's a lot of bitter people that have been hurt so much throughout their lives that they just don't want to give to anyone or do anything nice for anyone. Or maybe they don't even know how to do something nice for someone else. Like, they don't know where to start. They don't know what other people need or desire or whatever. Because I don't know, maybe I'm also like I did miss a dose of my depression meds the other day, so it could also just be my depression talking. But it feels like, yeah, I show up in this way of like trying to be the change I like to see in the world, but I worry that it's not as simple as that. Sometimes I think, like, is society and these societal foundational issues that are not cohesive or conducive to creating that change. I don't know. And then it kind of brings me back to that whole idea of like giving money to a homeless person and recording it and putting it on the internet for everyone to see. It's like, because we are so focused on social media, focused on our phones, and I know that's like, ugh. Nobody wants to hear me say like people are on their phones too damn much these days, because like I'm on my phone right now. I'm recording this on my phone, so I'm no one to talk when it comes to that. But I just wish that, I don't know. I guess I kind of wish that like people engaged more so with one another, and like I just wish communities could be more community. Like, I wish communities were like more common nowadays. Feels like there's just like a rareness to feeling that sense of community. Because like I try to do nice things for my neighbors and stuff, and I feel like it's almost seen as odd, or like I have some sort of hidden agenda, or I must be plotting something, or maybe I have a guilty conscience or something, and that's why I'm doing this. But again, that makes me sad because it's just like you really don't believe that good people exist at all, or like, and I don't want to think of myself as a good person. Like I said, like I'm very dualistic in the way of like who I am. You know, I have my bad days just like everyone else. There are days where I hate humanity because of how cruel it is. Or, you know. And maybe that's also my point too, is like I'm not perfect, but yet I still try. And I wish that more people understood that it's not about being perfect. It's not about being like an earth angel and doing everything right all the time and never making mistakes and always showing up in this lovely, loving energy. It's not about that. It's about just doing your best to show up for others. No matter, yeah, like no matter what, I don't know. No matter maybe how difficult it is, no matter how, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I just got done with a tarot reading, so my brain's probably a little bit still stuck in that mindset. But I really wanted to record this because I haven't recorded anything for my second channel in a while. So I made sure to make that other reading, or that reading, a little bit shorter. I meant it to be a quickie, but I don't think it is. But check it out on my other channel if you're interested in tarot readings. That's V's Intuition. I'll leave my link to my main channel in the description box below. For sure. But yeah. I'm just thinking about like, you know, it's like kind of like the gift, like the compensation of doing a kind thing is the act itself. And I wish more people could see that. Because like what a privilege it is to be able to give to another human, being in that position to be able to give to another person. Because it's like, I think I'm gonna mention the story of like this situation that kind of like made me ponder this a little bit. So I recently, a friend of mine recently asked me to like run to the store for them because like their check wouldn't clear until the day after because of the holiday. And so they didn't have the money to grab a couple things from the store, and so they wanted to know if I would be able to, and they would pay me back all that kind of stuff. But so I did it because it was literally not that much, and you know, it really wasn't that much that I got for them. But they like insisted on like paying me back and stuff. But I was like, you know, I'm really not worried about it because that's not why I did it. I did it because somebody needed my help, and I was in the position to be able to help. So obviously I would. And I just feel, I don't know. It just makes me sad that it's like people feel like, oh, you know, this person couldn't possibly just want to do something nice just for the hell of it. They have to have compensation. They have to, I don't know. They have to have some sort of incentive externally. But like the privilege that is me being in a place financially where I can go to the store and grab those couple of things for my friend, that is the gift. It's a privilege to be able to give. It's a privilege to be able to help other people and society, humanity. And through that process, we inspire other people to do the same thing. Because I acted out of kindness of my heart, who's to say that that person, my friend, who I helped out, who's to say that forgot where I was going with that. I think I was just talking about like how it is a privilege to give. And I feel like we should appreciate the fact that we're even in that position. For one, we're trusted enough to be asked to help someone. That is a blessing. That is a privilege. And two, being in that financial position to be able to buy those things for your friend in their time of need. That's wonderful. And I just, like, the act of doing something good makes me feel good. And I just wish maybe that more people felt that feeling, perhaps. I don't know. I feel like this whole thing is sort of me virtue signaling by talking about myself and how nice and wonderful I am. And everybody should be like me and give out the kindness of their heart, not like these other people. But I'm not trying to be like that. I'm really not. I just wish that it became the norm, you know? Where it's like, okay, somebody can do something nice for someone and expect nothing back in return. And that is how society, like, ideally, that would be how society would just be. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And then that would make me feel good because it's like, I would know that there's more kindness in the world, that there's, you know, that it's not rare to find people that want to help people. Also, I mean, like, if you find yourself being this kind of person that is a giver, that likes to help people when they are able to, definitely let me know, because you're definitely part of the collective that I want to sort of engage with when it comes to this channel. I want to find more people that are, well, not to say like they have to think exactly like me or be exactly like me or anything like that, but rather just we're on the same page, you know? We want to give just to give and not just to have some sort of materialistic hidden agenda underneath it all, you know? So if you're like that and you get frustrated that kindness is not the norm anymore, there's even a scene from Lark Rise to Candleford that I'm thinking of right now where it's like, what was it? I think it was season 3. Yes, I think it was the first episode of season 3 because Laura's parents, who live in this small hamlet that's very poor, they come into money, surprisingly, in an unexpected way. And, damn, I didn't know that ants could jump like that. They have the courage to jump? What the fuck? This little ant's doing parkour. What the fuck? Anyways, I don't know why I got distracted by the ant. That's impressive. I didn't know it's... Okay. So yes, I'm thinking of the 3rd season, episode 1. Laura's parents come into money all of a sudden, and the mom is at a neighbor's house in this poor community, and she like slides a shilling over to, it's a British show, so she slides a shilling over to her neighbor, and the neighbor's just like, what's this? Like, what? And then the mom's like, oh, it's just to pay you back for watching my baby all these years, or you know, for however long you've watched her when I needed it and whatnot. And the neighbor's just like, there's been no talk of a shilling all of these years that I've been helping out. And pretty much like, she was almost offended, you know, like, do you think that my friendship to you is based in monetary value? Or that I can be bought as your friend or something like that. It was interesting because it's like, that's kind of how I feel when people are like, you know, oh, I need to do something nice for you now. Or, you know, if I do something nice for them and they're like, oh, I need to repay you, or I need to do something. Because it's like, I engage in these things for simply just the thrill of being able to do it. I don't know. And wouldn't that be so nice that we, if like in an ideal society, we just like live in a society where people just naturally give to one another. They don't expect any payback. They're not like holding it against you and like waiting to bring it up in the future and throw it up in your face. But genuinely giving, genuinely helping, genuinely wanting to help, getting pleasure out of helping, finding fulfillment in that process without being so self-centered and selfish. And that's something too, it's like, you know, there are people that do these types of things and they do it for the wrong reasons. But then there's like that whole other question where it's like, if they're still doing the nice thing, even if it is with a hidden agenda, even if it is with the idea of being compensated at the end for it, maybe that doesn't really matter as much, and maybe it's not that big of a deal because at least the good thing takes place in the first place. This ear is ringing. Why do I feel like that's a message from Spirit? I wonder if Spirit's trying to tell me that it does matter. It does matter if people are doing something out of the kindness of their heart, or if they're just doing it to be compensated, or just doing it to get some sort of recognition for it. Because then it's no longer an act of charity, it's no longer an act of kindness. It's just an act of, how can I feed my ego? How can I feed back into my ego and the narrative that it spins in my mind? I feel like that's what Spirit's trying to tell me. So yeah, I guess it does matter. I wish we could just go back to that sort of energy of doing something out of the kindness of our hearts without expecting anything in return. Obviously still having healthy boundaries, of course, like not just giving when you know you can't, because that's another thing too, is like, if I was asked on like a week where my chronic illness was acting up or something, or my mental health was acting up, and you know, if I was asked in a different if I was asked to help somebody when I was experiencing my own stuff and wasn't physically or mentally or whatever able to give what they need in that moment, that's always a possibility too, and I wouldn't, you know, necessarily feel bad for that if, like, you know, they asked me on a week where I just simply don't have the energy, I simply don't have the funds, you know, whatever. Like, it's still okay to be like, okay, like, you know, typically I would, but, you know, I'm struggling at the moment and I can't really help out. There's no shame in that either. Or like if I notice that, okay, this friend is starting to only ever talk to me when they need something, like, you know, that's a different thing. And it's okay to put your foot down in those situations, to be like, yes, I want to help, but not at the expense of my own health, my own mental health, spiritual health, physical health. Like, I have no interest in being a doormat for people to walk over, but I do want to help those who need it. And maybe that's kind of, you know, this whole, like, the way I'm talking about all of this, I wonder if this should be like maybe the way that I set up these videos on the second channel, where I just kind of babble about the things that are on my mind, and maybe somebody out there will understand where I'm coming from. And you know, the thing is, like, this is a pretty new channel, my second channel. And I think over time I will eventually maybe work out the kinks and get a more structured sort of video setup maybe, or something, organization when it comes to the video ideas. But maybe right now it's just good to kind of just chat to the camera and just be like, what do y'all think about this? Maybe that'll be like the ending question I give you. It's like, what do you think about giving to other people? What do you think of the gift of giving? Do you think that there should be compensation on the other end? Do you think there should be recognition on the other end? Or do you think society and humanity would do better if things were just given out of the kindness of your heart without any expectation of repayment. What do you think about that? Feel free to put your thoughts in the comments for sure. Do you think that it makes a difference if somebody has a hidden agenda and does something nice, or do you think that it doesn't matter and the only thing that matters is just that they did something nice in the first place? Definitely share your opinions. I'd be interested to read what other people have to say about this topic. I think Spirit wants me to say that there is a difference, and it's better if somebody is doing something out of the kindness of their heart rather than some sort of repayment that feeds back into their ego loop, I guess. But yeah, anyways, I think that'll probably be a good place to stop because I think I'll probably just end up repeating myself at this point. But that's kind of what I've been thinking of, and I'll have to keep it short just because my battery on my phone has not been the most reliable. I actually need to get a new battery for my phone, but have not yet done so. I should do that at some point, depending on how much it is. I don't even want to know how expensive a battery for my phone would be. But anyways, yeah, so this will be a little bit of a shorter video, but, you know, maybe I brought up some thought-provoking information or opinions, topics. Yeah. I forgot how I wanted to end these videos. I know that I wanted to like give you positive affirmations for yourself, so I wish you happiness, luck, fulfillment. You are important. You are special. You matter. What you're doing matters. And it is not, the kind deeds that you do are not going unseen. They are being noticed and recognized, even if people don't outwardly express that. And I hope you know that you are special and that you matter, and continue to be the loving, beautiful, kind, giving person that you are. And it will come back to you. Yeah. So I think that will be the end of this. And I hope that you tune in for the next episode. But yeah. And let me know if you kind of vibe with just the random rambling or not. I have no idea what the sound is going to be like on this because of the wind being insane. So that'll be interesting when I'm editing. But yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you never forget how special you are, how wonderful you are, and how much you are needed in this world. But I can't wait to see you in the next one. And I hope you take care of yourself, okay?